All right. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. My name is Raj Rao. I have my partner in crime, Ragesh Nair, joining shortly. I'm the co founder of Autonomic, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the low code session. Today, what we're going to do is give you a little bit of the product orientation, um, what the product is, or what the low code journey looks like, and then we will walk you through the product. Ragesh actually will walk you through the product, and then ultimately, after he walks you through the product, our goal is to help assist you to create one scenario. All of you, each of you, I should say, should be able to create a scenario by yourself, right? We will guide you through the process, but the idea is to enable you to create a scenario by yourself. So that's really the goal. That is the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, you can see it yourself. So that's the goal. We don't need you to know Java, Selenium, or any of those kinds of technologies or technical skills. We just need you to know what would you like to test today, right? If you can answer that question, you should be able to use this product. So no technical skills are required or assumed, and it'll be pretty simple. It's all in English, and that's what we will demonstrate here today. And you will walk away with having done one scenario by yourself. To accomplish that, it would be helpful if we can get names and email IDs so that we can actually provision an account for you. And once we provision the account, then we can actually each of you can have um, access to Autonomic, and from there you can do this. So in order for you to do that, let me send. Don't put your IDs, email IDs, and name and email IDs in the chat. Send it to these email addresses: rajratrao@saucelabs.com, and you can also do send it to ragesh.nair@saucelabs.com. If you can send your name, your first name, last name, and email ID to that, we will be able to go ahead and we'll be able to go ahead and provision all of your accounts, and then we can so you will have access to Autonomic, and then we can go from there. Looks like Ragesh, you're also in as a moderator. Is that right?
Yes, Raj.
Excellent. Thank you, Ragesh. Uh, while I'm walking you through this, Ragesh will provision all of your accounts so that when we get to the time when we are to demonstrate, when you want to, create scenarios, you will have full access to the product. All right. So quickly walking through the agenda. By the way, if you have any questions, let us make it super interactive. If you have any questions, please type it in the chat box, and one of us will respond immediately. Ragesh, if you see any questions there, interrupt me. So we will make it super interactive.
Yeah.
So let's start with why low code automation is critical for an enterprise. This is a very important uh, concept and a new way of doing things. And I want to spend a few minutes explaining why this is important for your enterprise, because you are in the right session. Once you understand this, you will say, "Oh my God! I mean, there is a new wave coming, new tsunami coming that's going to change the way enterprises automate and do things." And then we will also talk about who is the target user of low code platforms in an enterprise. And then we will go into how Sauce Labs low code platform looks like, right? How does it look like? How do we use it? And then a hands-on low-code automation experience is what you're about to have today, and then we will do a wrap-up and QA. In between, I mean, this is a 3-hour session, so in between we will have at least two breaks, so that way you can take a mental break, get coffee, water, bio break, whatever, right? So that's the agenda. um, let's jump right into the content. So this citizen developer movement has been brewing over many years, right? IDC claims there'll be more than 500 million applications that will be developed by 2023. So what that means is we don't have enough developers. The entire world has less than 25 million developers. So those 25 million developers, professional developers, will not be able to support all the needs, future needs of the world in terms of number of apps created and so on. So Gartner is estimating that there will be 4x more citizen developers than professional developers. So citizen developer is somebody like me. I don't have any Java Selenium skills. I'm not a coder. I'm not a software developer, but I have a need to automate things. A typical example would be somebody in your organization who is doing manual testing repeatedly, right? For the same set of tests, they keep running again and again and again, but they don't have the skills to automate. Unfortunately, you don't have enough developers or SDETs to automate either. So this is the problem that is causing test debt to balloon, meaning the amount of tests you want to automate versus how much you can actually do is ballooning, and that's creating a huge problem because your test debt balloons. That means you're not doing enough automated executions of tests, and that means your regressions are not complete, and so on and so on, and then this leads to a bad place. So um, the citizen tester is emerging for many years now. Because if you look at Agile software development organizations where they're doing sprints, they say, oh, the developer is the tester, right? There is no tester, separate tester, developer is the tester. And so on one hand, there is no tester in the Agile sprint world. On the other hand, when you look at SaaS applications, web and SaaS applications, they have they in their organization. Let's take Salesforce as an example. That's a good SaaS app. Who manages Salesforce? A CRO organization manages Salesforce, and they don't have a role in the CRO organization, a chief revenue officer organization, a VP of sales. They don't have any automation engineers in their group. What they have is sales support people, sales ops people, administrators, and those kinds of people. And they are doing testing. So what is happening is on both extremes, on one side, developers are saying developers are the testers. On the other side, business users are saying they are the testers. Now, the challenge with this is developers have to develop all the code, and then in a typical agile sprint, and then they have to also do the tests. And many of the developers are Java developers. They are Golang developers. They are more into Python and other things, and they're not so interested in doing Java Selenium and so on. So they also have a need for a low code platform that can accelerate their testing process instead of them having to write this another new language called Java Selenium, right? So developers are becoming testers, and they don't have enough time to develop the code and also write automation scripts in a given sprint. And therefore the test debt is ballooning. And what they would like to do is they would like to find a way to automate without having to write all that code. SME is a subject matter expert, and domain users are the testers. So domain users are functional experts, right? They know how the application works, why the application works that way. They are the ones who give you requirements. They are the business analysts, and some of you in this group may be doing those roles, and you don't have the actual skills to write Java Selenium code. And there is nothing wrong with that. You have domain skills, which are highly valuable. Now, how do we enable those types of users to automate? And that was the genesis of a set of a new thinking emerged, where we needed to create a low code, no code platform that can just start with the intent, with the test intent. And from the test intent, we should be able to create test scripts, automatically execute the test scripts, and generate the reports and results. And this is what we call test intent to test results in minutes, right? And this can be done by anyone who can explain what the test intent is. And they can explain it in simple English. They don't have to know any coding skills. And you will see that in a few minutes. That is the emergence of the citizen tester, right? So now let us take a look at where this can be applied. These are some of the customers we have. If you look at custom applications, Salesforce, Oracle Cloud applications, these are just a few examples. I could have listed 10 more applications like SAP and so on, uh, but I would run out of space. So these are just, think of them as proxy to all of the applications that we can potentially use for low code, our candidates for low code. A simple example of custom application is you're building an e-commerce app, you're building a service management application that you have a bunch of developers developing it, and you're building a custom application. Care.com is a best example. They are building these nice portals in 18 countries, right? Somebody has to test those portals. These portals is where you can go get a babysitter or a house sitter or a pet sitter, those kinds of elder care. So you go there and do that. And they constantly release new products and new capabilities there. And they're constantly testing those capabilities. And they have bunch of automation engineers, but they still have to do more automation than the number of automation engineers can deliver. So that's where they have manual testers. This is true across the board, where the manual testers are doing the testing, and testers are doing the testing repeatedly, right? Similarly, for Salesforce and Oracle, these are some simple examples I can share with you that this is what is happening today. Now, there is plenty of, like I said, there is plenty of tools out there in the market. The the tools that exist in the market today are uh, open source tools and commercial tools. Open source tools are Java Selenium and so on, that you're familiar with, um, you've heard of. So on the commercial side, also there are plenty of tools, Tricentis and others, who have offerings that that are there. But one fundamental flaw with all these offerings is they were designed with a test specialist in mind. They were never designed for a citizen tester. So that's a fundamental flaw, because that means either the citizen tester has to get savvy and learn all these technical nuances to use those products, or you have to find a specialist, a test specialist to use the product and gets them certified. And that's not going to happen, right? At the rate which we're going, there will be 4x more citizen testers. So we need to create a new set of tools to address that emerging market. And that's what we have done. So when we started this journey in 2017, what we did was we built our IP to understand the intent. We said, I don't want to worry about, we don't want to ask testers, or people interested in testing, to do all the dirty work of creating the code, maintaining the code, validating the code. We don't want to do that. Let us shift that problem away to more of describing the intent. So we have a powerful NLP engine with machine vision and so on, that actually, under NLP, stands for natural language processing, and understands English like you or I can. So you just express, there is no keywords, you just express what you would like to do, and it will understand that. And from once it understands the intent, it will automatically navigate any application and generate the scripts for you automatically with no human intervention, execute it, orchestrate the execution, and then if there is a change to the application and that change caused XPaths and CSS selectors to change, it will automatically maintain it for you. You have no reason to worry about, oh, how am I going to deal with this? This is a brittle script. What am I going to do now with this script? You don't have to worry about that. It is automatically taken care of for you, right? That is, in a nutshell, the the platform for you. It is some AI capabilities. It understands the intent, automatically navigates any application under test, generates the scenarios, executes it, and heals itself. It's called auto healing, and heals itself whenever there's a change. So that is what we do. And by doing this, we have fundamentally transformed testing into in three ways, in three distinct ways. First, anyone can do automation. A citizen tester can do automation. The second, what used to take, if you look at how a typical test automation engineer, a, a professional tester does, it takes them 5 to 8 hours to create a script, depending on the complexity of the script. Some easy scripts may take 3 to 4 hours, but on an average, in a given day, they need they can only generate about 1 to 1.5 scripts per day. We can do that, the same script generation, in minutes, right? Test intent to test results in minutes. That's our tagline. And whenever there's a change, we automatically heal the change. So what used to take at least some significant amount of time, like an hour, to discover where the issue was, all that is not a problem anymore because it automatically heals itself and executes. So anyone can describe what they want to test, and we will automate it for you. What used to take hours takes minutes, and through auto healing, we maintain things very easily and quickly with no burden on you. Those are significant transformations we have done. Now, what we're going to do today is, for the next step that's going to happen is, Ragesh is going to walk you through and do a quick demo of our application. And once that is done, then this is the target application, demoqa.com. And what we will do is we will actually um, show you how. First, we will demonstrate to you, and then um, you will be able to actually create the following scenario: browse, navigate, verify, assert activities in a test case, and you should be able to create an entry in a table and validate it. So this is what we will end the day with. Okay. So um, now, before we I hand off to Ragesh, or let me pause sharing, and if there is any questions, I'm very happy to answer that before we go um, into this. So I see Banu has asked, is this support mobile automation too? Um, there are two types of mobile automation. One is native mobile automation, which is Android and iOS and based applications. The second is web mobile or mobile web. Today we do mobile web application automation. We do not do native yet. Before in the next, I would say probably 1 or 2 quarters, we are working towards it. We will have mobile web also done in the next 2 quarters. And the next question is, how does the system know when to auto heal versus when it has found a bug? Auto healing means, let me describe it so that it is easier to understand. Auto healing means that you have given us a label. You said, go enter user ID and enter password. And now we are looking at the term user ID, and that's what we lock on, the name. And then from the name, we look at the XPath. And let's say we had already executed and generated the XPath for this. But now, for some reason, the XPath has shifted. So we look at this and say, well, XPath doesn't match. So we know the label is still there, but the XPath doesn't match. And so in that case, we heal it, auto heal it by finding the new XPath and assigning it to that with no human intervention, right? That's why we call it auto healing. Finding a bug is different. Finding a bug means, let us say that I was looking for a certain field and the field doesn't exist. Auto healing will not help you there. Auto healing will say, well, sorry, I was looking for a word like first name and I can't find first name on this page. That's a bug. Or it was looking for a value match. A was supposed to be actual versus expected, and they don't match. That auto healing is not going to step into that space. It will say that's a fail. The assertion fails or verification fails. So that's how we separate auto healing versus finding bugs. Auto healing is all related with the XPaths and CSS selectors, those kinds of things, versus finding a bug is a semantic issue, and auto healing doesn't apply to semantics. Any other questions? All right. So with that, let me hand it off to Ragesh. And Ragesh, I hope you can hear me, Ragesh. Before you start sharing your screen, um,
Yeah.
were you able to receive the names and email IDs so that you can provision?
Yes, Raj. So I have received a request from 6 users,
Okay.
and one of the users has already logged in. I
Oh,
just
cool.
wanted to check whether others were able to log in or not. But yeah, they should be
let's
able.
let's let's ask. Since this is a hands-on session, anybody who we encourage all of you to share your email IDs with Ragesh, so we can provision it, and so that you all have access to the platform. And as we go through, you can also follow along. And at the end of the day, we would like you to create a scenario. So that would be very, very useful exercise. So please share, if you're interested in creating one of those things, please share your email ID and name, full first name, last name, and email ID with me or Ragesh, and we will provision it. Okay. So with that, let me pause. Let me pause and hand it off to Ragesh, and we'll go from there. Ragesh, over to
Yeah.
you. You can
Yeah.
start sharing your screen.
Yeah. Sure, Raj. So let me share my screen. Um, I believe you're able to see my screen. Raj, you're able to see me? Raj, can you confirm you're able to see my screen now?
No, no, not yet. Ragesh, I'm not seeing. No,
Okay,
I'm
let
not seeing
me.
it yet.
Let me check this.
See, there is a next to
How
the
about, yeah? How about now, Raj?
no, no, I'm not still seeing the screen.
The entire screen. Okay. Let me share the entire window.
Yeah,
Able to see now? No.
it may take a minute. Let's see. So far, no.
Um, looks like. Uh, how about now, Raj?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes, we can see a
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, really
Okay.
sorry about that, team. Yeah. So yeah, so once we log into Autonomic, this is the screen we would see. Yeah. So if you can notice here, so once we log into Autonomic, we would see the dashboard. The dashboard has details like, projects, suites, cases. It basically tells us the overall health of our projects, and this would give critical insights to, how about our test cases are going on, just prior to a release, what all things we should take into consideration. So I'm not sure if I are able to see my the other screen as well. So if I refresh here, this has more metrics in this particular URL. So a dashboard gives us insight to, the status of our testing. Yeah, how well our testing is going on. Now let me drill into few features of, autonomic, like how we classify things in autonomic, right? So in the menu we can see that there's dashboard and there is plan, execution, and analyze. Yeah. So most main three functions we do in autonomic. That is, in planning we have uh, added projects, test suites, and test cases. In executions, we have reports and scheduler, and in there are different ways we could analyze as well. So there's an analyze tab as well. Yeah. Now let us go inside projects. So projects are sophisticated folder structures in Autonom. So how do we classify different test cases with the functionality together? Right? So we use projects for the same. So there are test cases, as you can see. Test cases has test steps. So and there are other project assets, like there are data. So we can upload a data like an Excel files. We could upload artifact files like a JPG or a script. So we could upload the different kind of data. One is a test data, which is an Excel file or an artifact, basically. Yeah. So that is about data. We have variables. So variables can be used in test cases, and these are global variables. And this could be in any format. If we need it in a, a list format, if we need it in a JSON format, we could add that variables here, and these would be called into these test cases. There are flows, which is a reusable component in a project. So reusable components are very helpful because people here know that how important the reusable functionality is. So for example, there's a login functionality. We need to use it over and over again. So we just make it as a reusable component and add it as a flow. So we call the reusable component as a flow, and there are test suites. So what test suites are? Once the user create test cases, we categorize those test cases into some test suites, yeah, for execution purposes. So for example, you can see here there's a regression suite with, let's say 17 test cases. There is a, test suite with a few test cases, and likewise. Yeah. So this is about how, what we basically see in autonomy. Now once we move a bit deeper, just before that, like, anyone has any questions from what you just saw now?
No, it doesn't appear there is any questions on the chat. I'm watching the chat.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So feel free to ask any questions on the way, and yeah, we'd be glad to answer. So I'll proceed further. So once we click on add test case, that's where the things get tricky. So how do we add a test case in Autonomous? So once we click on add test case, we basically have different methods to add a test case. Yeah. So we have a record option, we have an upload option, we have create option. Okay. So let me showcase these options, but I believe I am just sharing one tab. So let me stop sharing and let me share. Is there a way you could tap all this entire screen window? Yeah. So Raj, I'm not sure why I face a difficulty when I'm sharing this entire Chrome. I mean the entire screen or window. Only when I share a particular tab, it is displaying. I'm not sure why.
I'm no, I don't know because I was not, I didn't have that issue.
Okay. So
Um,
you just shared the window or the
yeah,
entire screen.
yeah, I shared the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. You're not able to see my
No, no,
screen.
not yet. No, I'm not. We can't see anything.
Yeah. So only when I share this, Raj, when I share the tab, we are able to see. But I believe for me to show the recorder part, I would need to, show the entire
Yeah,
uh, tab.
yes, yes. Maybe we can come back to the recorder a little bit later.
Okay.
Uh, Maybe you can
Okay.
start with, yeah,
Okay. Sure, Raj. Yeah. Sounds good. So I believe now this screen is visible. Okay. So
yes,
okay, yeah.
yeah. Screen
So
is visible.
let's look at this uploader part then. So let me show the intent first. So but again, I don't think the users would be able to see this of my screen. Yeah. And sorry about that, team. But actually, I'm not sure because of some difficulty. I'm not able to show that screen. However, I'll go ahead and upload it. So I click on this upload icon here, okay, and it's asked for test keys, test data, artifacts, and audio. If I have whatever I need to add as an intent, I'll upload here. Okay, so it says select Excel file. I could just drag and drop as well. So I select the intended intent. I click on open. I upload it. If there's any data, I can add data. So why I should add a separate data is it would help me do a data-driven scenario, and then there's no artifacts required for the test case, and then click on submit. As soon as I click submit, all this intent, all the intent I was intending to share with the tool has appeared here. Yeah. So I say open website, click on elements, click on web tables, enter name, enter last name, enter email. So this kind of intent. So once all this data is loaded into Autonomic, I just click on this button which says generate. I click on this button here and it asks for the platform browser combinations to run in. I click generate. So once I click generate, you can see what happens just now. So what happens behind this? Maybe Raj can add more to this. The tool tries to discover, what intent we have provided. It breaks down the entire NLP statements that we have provided. That is natural language processing. It breaks it down to understand the parts of speech. It understands now verbs, adjectives. It scans through the page, identify the object it has to interact with. It, for example, when we say click on web tables, it identifies that in web tables a button you should click on. It clicks on web tables and highlights that on the screen for the user. In the backend, it saves all the required information like XPath information, object information. All that is saved in the backend for further executions. Yeah. So click on web tables, click on add. It clicks on the add button here. Then we say enter first name. So user sees first name on the screen and the intent is enter first name. And we give a static data. For here we have taken a name called Rob. Enter last name and save it as something. Why this step is important? Because this is the dynamic data. So the users here are aware of data issue that we face during testing. Yeah. So most of the data gets stale. So today I run a data. For example, let's say, yeah, every time I run the test case, I want a new data to be in the place. Yeah. So it doesn't accept static data. So for example, in Salesforce, every time I run, I need to have a unique data. So what we can do in autonomic is we can use the regular expression just by adding this, hashtag curly bracket this syntax. So this gives, like for example, A to Z is a capital letter, and from a range I could say, A to Z, give me a capital letter B. From A to D, give me a small letter. C to H, give a small letter, likewise. Yeah, and I'm save it as L name. Okay, so this will be saved under the global variable L name so that I can reuse it later. Okay, so yeah, so first let me go ahead with this. So click on add, click on enter first name, enter last name, and then enter email. You can see here I've added a combination of numbers and letters, and enter age, enter salary, enter department, and I click on submit button. So once I click on submit button, I verify that this row got added. Yeah. So this is an entire scenario wherein we go to an application, we click on few elements, we interact with them, we finally make sure that we have added a row of data, right? So this is how I showcase how we upload it. Now let me show you how I can record.
Ragesh,
Like,
hold on one
yeah,
second. There is a
yeah,
question.
yeah,
Joe is
sure.
asking, what does
Hmm.
the Excel files contents
Looks
look
like,
like?
okay. So
Unfortunately,
yeah, let
you
me
know,
try that large. Let me
yeah.
just give me one
While
moment.
Ragesh is trying, what the Joe, think of it as just a set of rows. Each row has that one test step that Ragesh showed. Like the one of the test steps, there was enter the form, right? When you had to enter the form, you have to enter each individual values. uh, that would be the test step. So Excel is nothing but a collection of test steps that he just imported. So where does this Excel come from? Let's think about that for a second. If you are doing a sprint and you have your user stories, and for each user story has an acceptance criteria and many acceptance criteria, and each acceptance criteria can have one or more tests that you need to create, you need to automate, you need to execute. So somebody is writing these test steps, the test cases, to match each of the acceptance criteria in a proper agile methodology. That is a requirement. And if you can do that, then you just import that file in here and it will execute it. That Okay, there you go. Thank you. He's showing, Ragesh is showing now. You can see the content. You can
Yeah.
see the first column is the test steps, the second column is the test data. And you can see, open the website, click on elements, click on web tables. That's it. That's all the input we need. And that anybody can describe that, right? You don't need to be a technical expert to do that. And that's why this is a low code solution where you can just describe this in English. And there is another way he's going to show, which is using a recorder in a second. But using this method, you can actually import a test case, and from that test case you can actually do all of your activities and automate it. Meaning, once you import this test case, it will generate the script automatically, execute the script, deliver the results, and we're going to show you the report and the code, everything in a minute, and maintain it for the life of the script. Meaning, if let us say the fourth line, click on web tables, the XPath for web tables changed. No problem. You don't have to worry about it. Autonomic will automatically know why it changed and where it changed, and how to fix it, and it will automatically fix it. The XPath and CSS selectors, so you don't have to do it manually. Does that explain? I hope that explains. Are there any more questions on this? Because this is a critical topic. Yeah, if there's any more questions, please put that in the chat window, and we will keep going. Um, so Ragesh, back to you. You can continue. Actually, now we can show uh, the script that got generated and the report.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, users can see this test case which we just created. So I'll showcase what happened in the backend and how the scripts got generated. So users have an option to see this, but they have no requirement to check this script that got generated. So this is the script that got generated in the backend. Yeah. So this script is used for execution as well. So while generation, the script is created and saved by the tool. Yeah. So this entire script is generated and it is used for execution. The user does not have to bother about any of the scripting part. They just have to pass the intent in plain English, and the tool takes care of the rest. So we can download the script or copy it to clipboard for the references. Okay, let me show how the report looks like as well. So we click on there's an option we get the report. Let me show how the report looks like. Okay, I don't think we'll be able to see it. Let me stop share and let me share again. Sorry about that, team, but for some reason it's not letting me share the entire window. I'm sharing tab by tab. Yeah. So this is how the report looks like. It's an interactable HTML report. So we have options to filter these out. So this is like all the success steps. This is like fail steps. These are like information messages, I would say. So this says like, hey, I found two elements, I'm clicking on the first one. Or if there are multiple elements, it gives you some kind of fuzzy input. For example, I click on element, right, and there's elements on screen. The tool will say that I am clicking on elements because I found that you check this step, which I can showcase now. And there is this step which is not for executed steps, and this the entire steps. So this way we can filter the report. We have all the information about the script execution on the left hand side, and we have step by step information on the report. So we can see open website, at what time it was captured, what time it ran, and what time it is captured, and the URL and the message. Yes, so click on elements, click on web tables, and this screen can be expanded to view the screen. So if there is any requirement for the team to share this within users, we could always do that. So what happens in Autonomic is we have a feature by which we can provide the emails like Slack forward email addresses, or the actual email addresses, so that the tool pushes the reports to our mailbox. This report can be shared with users and even to the management for the reference purposes. Yeah, any question team or sure.
There was one question. I want to make sure everybody understands. This is an important question. Banu was asking, how do you where does the data get in? So I explained basically when Ragesh imported the test case, the test data came along with it. So when he uploads the test case, the test data, yeah, you can see the test data is the second column. All of that, you can actually give it to us in the same spreadsheet, or you can have a separate spreadsheet called data file, and then that data file can be associated with many test cases. Okay, and one or more test cases, and then data can come from that spreadsheet, or it can be part of the test case spreadsheet as well, right? So both options are available, and that's how it is done here. I hope that explains. Any other questions on this? So, Ragesh, next maybe we should show the reporting piece. and um, and then we can go to the how we use our studio to record a session.
Oh, yeah. So Raj, I believe I showcased the report. Should I share the
Yeah, you already showcase the report. Then let us go to um, the the recording. Yeah, using
studio?
the studio. So there is
Okay.
one more question from Kate, which
Mhm.
is, for the data spreadsheet, does the data need to be in an order like it is for the steps? No. The good news is there is no order expected in the spreadsheet. So you could have anything anywhere as long as all the data is in the spreadsheet. We will go search, find, and then get the value. So the spreadsheet is designed in such a way that the first row is the label and the second row is the value. You can see here, right? I mean, what Ragesh is showing is a simple row value pair, and as long as you have that, then we are good to go and execute. And it can be in any order.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's a different kind of test case, right? So,
sure.
Raj, maybe the users would like to see this.
Yeah, please go
So,
ahead,
yeah,
show. Yeah,
yeah. So this is the second kind of data that Raj was talking about. So we could just add. There's no particular order that it should be with the step. We could just give the key value pairs like what is the name and what is the value. We could upload it as a different sheet, and this can be attached to any test case. Yeah. So let's say I want to call this annual revenue. So I can just in the test case I can index it to this annual revenue, and it would pick this value. So if you see here, there is two rows of data. So we can do a data-driven testing, right? So the first time it runs, it would pick these values. Yeah, for example, the first time it runs, the number of employees is going to be this. The second time the iteration runs, in the same execution, it would pick this value. Yeah. And the user also has an option to modify these data. They can insert column, delete column, change these data. Once they change it, they could click on save, and the data gets saved. So they don't have to again download and then modify. They have an option to modify it in the UI itself and then save it for references. So if you see here, this particular data Salesforce test case would be here. And so, and you can see that this is associated with one test case currently. We could go ahead and attach it to multiple test cases, so that these test cases can also call those variables and use it along the way. I think this help. Okay, so I'll proceed to the recorder part. Yeah. So coming back to test cases, so this is the place where we create test case. So we can see the add test case button. So I'm not sure how this UI is going to look because I'm unable to share the entire screen. So pardon with me. Let me see how this goes. So let me explain the concept. So we have recorder in the Chrome store. We have Chrome. If I go to Chrome store, we have the recorder versions for autonomic. I can put that drop that link in the chat, so users can use that particular link to install the recorder once they try hands-on. So let me showcase how this works. So I click on this button here for the record. It it actually opens the studio. Okay, now the studio is open, and let me see what users are able to see. Okay, users are still in this particular page. Okay. So once we open the studio, yeah. Okay, I don't know how to showcase this. So okay, let me try once. Okay, okay, it just shows this particular screen. Let me try once again. How do I record? I share the screen, the entire window. Something blocking from my end. Not sure though. Yeah, just give me a minute, team. Yes, I've given access. Okay. So when I try to share, I don't see we are seeing anything. Okay. Let me switch back to this itself. Yeah. Okay. So okay, I click on this record icon. So what happens is that Recorder Studio pops up. Okay, and I can navigate in the UI and just click on the elements. So let me show you how that looks like. If I can show my other screen, share, and then Chrome tab. Okay, yeah, I can. So this is the recorder that is open this model, right? So why you see these recording is in place because I am interacting with those currently. Yeah, that's why you see these steps here. So let me delete these steps. So what happens is that as soon as it launches, it is going to record the steps. Okay. Now let me actually start let me showcase it in parts. So I click on the in the demo QA whatever I want to click on. Yeah. So let me show that page also. So you can see here. Let me stop share. Let me share again, and go to demo QA. Okay. Yeah. So now you are able to see my page where I am going to demo QA, and we have already saw the recorder. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is that me as a user, I'm just going to interact with this application. So I click on elements. Okay. So you can see here, right? If you're able to see my page, it shows click on has been recorded. Then I click on this. I click on, so you can see that there is only 3 rows of data here. Yeah. So I click on add button here. I enter the first name, I enter last name, enter email, okay, enter age, enter salary, and this should be numbers, and then click on department and click submit. And I need to verify that whether Sam is there on the page. So all this action has been performed using recorder. Now let me show you how the recorder screen looks like. Okay. So since I'm able to only share one tab, that's why I'm stopping and sharing in between. I'm really sorry about that. So let me go back to the studio and showcase the steps that got recorded. Yeah. So if you can see my screen, these are the steps that got recorded. Yeah. Open website, set screen, click on elements, then switch tab, click on web tables, click on add, enter elements, enter first name, last name, email, age, salary, department, all these steps. Yeah. So users have an option to delete or edit steps. Yeah. For example, I can delete a step, I can add a step. So all that we have an option to delete or add steps. So, for example, I need to modify something, I can modify. You would notice that there is no double quotes added here, right? But so that's fine for the tool. So it's like when we add those steps, when we pass it, we pass with the double quotes. But you can see that it has been entered in plain English without any indentation of, intents of double quotes or anything. But it captured all these steps. As soon as I click this button here, okay, which says save test case, it says saved successfully. Now let me show you the other screen, autonomic screen. Okay, let me stop share and share my autonomic screen, a studio. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm just sharing the screen. Sorry about this. Let me share my autonomic page. Okay. Yeah. So you can see that this particular test case has progressed 36%. And as soon as we click save, it starts generating in the UI. Yeah. So it has performed all these steps, elements, and you can see here it's not case sensitive. So I have we have just added click on elements, and it has basically clicked on elements with the capital ES. So it does not matter. Click on web tables, add, enter first name. So all these steps, it's going through these generation steps, and it is entering one by one. So, any questions on this point where it is, using the recorder?
So Bano has a good question.
Mhm.
Um, Somehow I'm also navigating to Studio 2 after clicking Save Test Cases. I'm not able to save the cases. So can you demonstrate how you save the test case?
Okay. The first question would be okay. So, Banu, just a quick question. Are you not able to begin the session? Is that the issue that you're facing? You mentioned the record was in a Chrome extension, can be used in a Chrome browser. Not necessarily it's a Chrome extension. Okay, we could try the link. Let me share the browse recorder link that I use. Just give me 1 minute. So we have multiple version of the recorder. Let me send you the recorder that's compatible with the latest build. So we have different builds of Autonomic, right? Let me share you the link.
So Ragesh, maybe I can share my screen and show how the recorder thing works. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, absolutely, Raj. Yeah.
Okay. You why
So
don't you
yeah.
stop sharing and I will uh, see if I can do that.
Yeah, Raj, can you check once you have installed the recorder once, and if
Yeah,
you can.
I have it. I have the recorder up and running.
Okay, sure, Raj. You could show it then. Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'll put that link for users' reference.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please do that. And then let me show them. So, see, I've logged into the application. Can you see my whole thing, my screen?
Yes, Raj.
Okay, cool. So I've logged into the app, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to. So these are each project. You can see each of these is a project. Each project is dedicated for a particular URL, but under application under test. So in this case, it is Salesforce. You can see the URL there, and in this case, it is Demo QA, and in this case, it is John Deere Store. So I'm going to use John Deere Store as an example, right? So John Deere Store is a very complex application. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a test case using my studio. Okay, I hope you're able to see everything I'm clicking on. And as soon as I clicked on, it is smart enough to know, we call this AI Test Studio. It is smart enough to bring up the actual studio along with the target application. You see here, this is my target app. And I hope you can see this. And then here I have the ability to go change my test case name. So that may it is unique. Let's call it SauceCon test one. And and now I'm gonna put this away, and then I just go through navigating my application. So let us say that I want to buy uh, excuse me, these tractor T-shirts, right? I don't know why, but anyway, I like those tractor T-shirts. So they don't have a easy way for me to buy this. Let us see. Let's go all the way to the bottom. So there is no way I can. They have not given me option to buy and so on. So what I will do is I will go back to parts, and I want to buy these, let us say, this mower plus Bluetooth, and I'm going to add it to cart and continue shopping. So I can now go buy, let's say, hats, right? So you get the picture, right? I want to buy this trapper hat, right? So again, I want to add it to cart. You get the picture. So what it has done is it has captured everything I have done in simple English. That's the first magic, right? Click on Sunset Tractor T-shirt, and we clicked on the parts. Click on more plus Bluetooth. First of all, are you able to see my screen, Ragesh?
Yes, Raj. I'm able to see the end test. Yeah. Now we
Okay,
have seen
cool.
the A studio. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So see, everything I did, it is captured in English, right? Why do we do this? By the way, it's a lot of effort for us to convert everything into English. Why we do this is test case is a compliance requirements. So in many organizations, you need to have a test case. Actually, I can take this test case and give it to a person, and the person can manually execute it. So without a test case, you can't say, well, I ran a bunch of tests. I don't have test cases to track them. I mean, that doesn't fly well. So that's the first magic, is everything is captured in English so anybody can read it. Now I'm going to save this. The moment I save this, you see that was saved, SauceCon test one. And within the next few minutes, this test case will be um, completely processed, scripts generated, executed, and a report will be waiting for us. So, how did we get here? We just launched a simple studio, and the studio captured all the activities I did, captured and represented them in English, and I just saved it. And the processing has already begun. And in a few minutes, it will the entire script will be generated, executed, and a report will be waiting for us. Right? That's what we mean by test intent to test results in minutes. Um, Now, if I go to my application, you see here SauceCon test one is already created and it is already getting processed. It's already in progress. In a few minutes, it will be completely done. And when it is done, it will look like one of these test cases we did. Like, for example, here you can see it has processed all the steps, and it has generated a report for us, and a code and source code and report for us, right? So if you go to project details, you can go check on any one of these, and here is a report, and this report, um,
Yeah, Raj, I believe those were purged prior to the call.
okay,
So, yeah.
okay, no worries.
Yeah, maybe you
So
clone and run this
this,
right out to showcase.
yeah, so this one is will be processed, and report will be generated for this one. So we will see that in a couple of minutes, right? So this is how we go from intent to results. And just wanted to let you know that so there are two ways. One is the way he's that um, Draghi started with a test case, right? A test case was like this, was represented in simple tests in Excel with data and the step description, right? And it started with that. And you see, this one is a test case for another application, and it's everything is written in English, right? And once you have this, you can import this with a test data file, and then you can generate the script. The second one is what Ragesh showed you, which is a recording. From a recording, you can generate the script and execute it. So um, we have done a lot of talking and
Uh,
showing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Raj, one quick question.
yeah,
I believe users were facing some issue while trying to install the plugin. So, Raj, do you mind showing the screen of? Can you go to the extensions, Raj, in the Google Chrome store?
sure, sure. Can you? This is on my Chrome. This is where I
Yeah,
am,
yeah. Can you
and
click on that? Yeah. Can you just go to your main extensions, Raj? Click on settings, go to extensions, right? So I
yeah.
believe when we set it up for the first time, I think users have to pass in the ID. I think that's what they're facing the issue as. Raj, next to update, you see three dots, right? Can you click on that and go to your main extensions page?
Uh, Here,
Next to update, yeah. Can you go to your more tools extensions?
yes.
More tools, yeah. More tools extensions, yeah. Teammates, if you can follow this right, maybe this should fix the issue. So you could see that the developer mode can be turned on, and you can see the Autonomic AI Studio. Raj has multiple versions installed, but I have put the Autonomic AI Studio 1.2.11, for your reference, which we support in the latest builds. And there's an ID. So Raj, would you mind copying the ID and just show it to them, like how? Yeah. So can you please copy the ID? Yeah.
This ID.
So Raj, yeah, only reason I'm asking you is Raj because you're able to share the entire screen. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no worries, no worries. So you
yeah,
want me to share
yeah.
this
Just,
ID?
yeah, just till that ID, Raj. No need of that ID. Yeah, just till that
Got it,
GB, that entire thing. Yeah,
got
if
it.
you can copy that, and can you please go to Autonomic? So this is for the new user, what Raj is showing, right? First time when we set it up, so we have to just pass the ID. So yeah, and now when you plan to go, yeah, Raj, can you go to this different tab and maybe project details?
Project details, sure.
Yeah, and now add test case. Click on that add test case, Raj. If you don't know.
Yeah,
And right click on that. Yeah, right click on the record icon. So when you right click, you have an option to provide the ID. Yeah. So Raj was using a different ID, if you can notice, right? So first
yeah.
time users have to provide this ID so that it's indexed with that particular recorder. Once you provide that ID, you just click on the install plugin. You would notice that there's a refresh that happens. Once that is done, you should be able to kick off the recorder. So team, you can just try this and let us know in the chat. I think this should help.
I hope that it's not too complicated.
Yeah.
To follow and do all the things we asked you to do. Uh, yeah. So here is what we can do. Why don't we do the following? Um, let us. Okay. Well, there's one question. The steps, and somehow I'm not able to export them to the main project. So actually, Banu, when you record the steps are, and you just have to hit the save button, right? Remember that there is a save button, and if you hit the save button, that's all you have to do. That is already automatically exported to the main project and executed. So it may take a little bit. Um, so it may take a little bit of time to execute, but it will execute it. The moment it says successfully saved, you got this, right? And Dan is not able to log into customer.autonomic.ai sign in. So let us make sure we can help
Yeah, I
Dan.
believe Dan and we were using a different link. I've forwarded an email. Can you please check that?
So
I think yeah, Dan was using a different link. So yeah, let me send that mail again.
so we've been discussing for more than an hour. So I think because it's a 3 hour session, they've asked me to take a break, give everybody a break. So what we will do is right now it's 9:10. Um, you guys can take a break. We will not discuss anything until you come back. It's about 15-minute break. So you can come back at 9:25 PST. My on my clock is 9:10 a.m. and in 15 minutes we'll restart. But those people who are having technical issues, you can stay back and we can actually demonstrate and address your technical issues like logging in, Chrome browser issues, or the whatever issues you have, right? We can address those, but we will reconvene and start at 9:25. And when we start at 9:25, our goal is to really make each of you successful in creating um, a scenario, an automated scenario before we leave today. That's our goal. So Joe has a question. How do I get the screen that has the add test case button? So if you go to, let's see, see, add test case is inside a project. If you go back to, if you're here, you can click on any one of these projects. Let's say, for example, here I click on this one here, and then add test case is right there. I hope you can see. Um, I hope you can see what I'm showing. So uh, I'm gonna pause here. Um, Everybody, please go take a break and let's come back in 9:20 by 9:25. But in the meantime, if there's any questions, keep putting it in the chat window, and Ragesh Rai will respond.
Please open Studio from Autonomic to save. Banu, I believe you are starting from the extension page, is it? So please open Studio from Autonomic. So what you do is right. You don't start from the extension page. Can you close the current, recorder, and Raj showcase, right? So we can start from the Autonomic screen. Yeah. So if you see here, so here, right in project details, when you click on add test case, you start the recorder from this button. Okay, and we don't. That's how it begins. So you can close this. I don't know which screen am I sharing. Am I sharing? Yeah, I'm sharing the screen. So let me show you this screen. Chrome tab. Okay. I'm autonomic. I come here. I come here. You can see here. I click on add test case. From here, I need to initiate. Yeah, not from my extension. So I don't click this and start. I click on this button to record. Can you try that and let us know how it sounds? Oh, sorry, Dan. Dan, are you able to access now? So Sarah has asked, I'm not an autonomic at all. How do I join? I have this POC. So Sarah, can you please drop a mail to Raj and me, or just me, so I can add the email in the chat. Okay. Can you drop a mail, Sarah, so that we can provision one account for your usage? Sir, I have added your credentials. I've shared it via mail.
Everyone, we will start in 2 minutes. You got 2 more minutes, and to get to 9:25, and at 9:25 we'll start. All right, everyone, it's 9:25. Let's reconvene and get started. Um, so the next step we want to show you is how to create a test case in a from the notepad. Notepad is part of the application, part of the project, and within a project you have a notepad. And how do you create it, right? So far we have shown you how to create it from an Excel spreadsheet, how you can upload an Excel spreadsheet and create a test scenario, execute it. We have shown you the recording, using a AI studio, AI test studio. You can do it. Now the third step is how you can create it using a notepad. We're going to show you that. But before we go there, Joe had a question. Joe recorded some steps and then went in to try and edit them. Now, how do I rerun the test case? When I click execute, it asks me to use the last run configuration or use new configuration. And below that, it says SaaS Lab configuration not found. Um, so, Ragesh, can we start answering, showing, because I'm sure everybody else is going to run into the same problem. So, why don't you please show uh, how we execute the test case, and let us walk them through that slowly, and then we go through the notepad, um, so everybody can follow this. Yeah, everybody needs to pay attention to this one because this is an important piece. Over to you, Ragesh.
Yeah, sure, Raj. So I believe I'm audible and my screen is visible.
Yes, we
Raj?
can see your screen and we can hear you well.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So yeah, so Joe, the similar, let me take any test case. For example, I have recorded these steps, and I can say some users have successfully recorded. So let me just click on this button here, okay, which says clone. Okay, so with the click of a button, I have cloned this entire text test case. Okay, so you can see here these are the steps that is recorded by user. So first thing that we see in autonomic is generation, right? So I click on this button generate. So I see use raster and configuration and use new configuration. So I'm running in the version. Okay, so I have different options to set up. Like in source we have multiple options, but I do have to provide my source credentials in order to run in source VM. So I have an option wherein I can add my credentials here. So let me go here. So I have a Sauce Labs credentials page where I can enter my Sauce Lab credential so that I can activate my Sauce executions. So currently we don't expect users to add that. Also, if you have, well and good, we can add that, or everybody has access to this local execution, so you could just click on this button, which will create the generation. Okay, so that is what we have seen till now. So once the generation is done, so the tool has got what it has required, right? So it has got all the information it has wanted. It has got the expert information, object information, all that it needs to keep executing. Now we'll go to the next phase, that is execution. Okay, so let me show you. So once a test case is generated, we can proceed to the execution. So now the generation has completed. You can see that it says progress, it's success. Now I click on this button which is execute, and the same modal would pop up again. Yeah. So Joe, can you put in the chat where you're able to see this screen, because I can see that the local is automatically enabled for every user. So you're saying that last run configuration is not available, Joe. So weren't you able to see this screen, which says like this, and then you just click execute. As soon as you click execute, you can see here it says execution started. I click on this hamburger menu, I can see this execution in progress. Yeah. So while we
Ragesh,
execute, yeah,
Ragesh,
sorry.
Joe
Yeah.
confirmed that when he selected local, he was able to continue.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you for confirming, Joe.
we want to make sure that everybody else was able to follow what Joe was asking and how we were able to, deal with it. Um, yeah, if there is anybody else has execution related questions, please ask. Now we can go ahead and start with when you're done, Ragesh, with this topic, let's go and show them how we can add a test case via Notepad. Let's keep it like a 5 steps, and then we can move on to the hands-on workshop phase.
Yeah, sure, Raj. So, Raj, out of all the interested participants, Anne Sulit is not yet logged in. So, I've checked in the chat also
Yeah.
with any issue. Otherwise, we could get going. We're all good.
Yes. Okay.
So, Anne, you want to confirm whether you have some issue, or is it fine that we go ahead? Because so the next one we would be sharing, we would request, yeah, we would request, each and every user to try it along, so that we follow exactly. So, and then maybe what I could do is that, let me see. Okay, I click on Autonomic here. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So currently we have created one project. I could create a different project also for reference. So if the user wishes, they could just click on this button and just kickstart a project. Yeah. So for example, let me give the project name. So I just clicked on this plus button here, and I'm giving a project name. Let me see project and so on. Okay. So in this particular project, it's mandatory that I give an app URL. We can always change it. Let me give the app URL. At first we should give the app URL. So let me provide the app URL and description. It's not mandatory. We could add description if required. Then there are a few properties which we can turn on. So by default screenshots are turned off, and if for failures we capture screenshot, but we could turn on screenshots for each and every step. And there are some custom settings for custom parsing, but we keep it default like step 1 data 2 result 3. We could always change this. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we should upload those in this particular order. Yeah, we could change it and just change it over here. Okay, then click finish. So we have a project. Okay, so I request each and every user who is interested, right? So they could just come log in. They could click on this project hands on. Okay, and yeah, you can pay close attention. I think there's one other question from Banu. So Banu will come to that question. So I can explain this, and we will do it together. Right? We'll see how the execution report looks like as well. So what I would request is users can reach here, then click on add test case. Okay, and you can see this button here. Okay, which is the notepad way of giving intent. Okay, so I click on this. Let me explain what I'm trying to do here. So I am going to provide my name here. Okay, so I am saying this one. Okay, so it's not mandatory that you should give anything like underscore. It's your choice. Just click on update. Okay, and you could click on add test case. Click on this. Okay, let me give a name. Okay, underscore test, update, and generate. So every user, can you please do this step so that we have your own test cases. So for example, right, you just create a one step. You just click on. So I can show it again, team. So add test case. Click on this notepad icon. So automatically that step is added here. You just click the generate icon here. Okay. So it asks this model. Click on generate. So you could just add this names. Yeah, I can see there's a lot of participants. That's great. So you could put your name as well, so that any questions you have, it's easy for us to track it. Okay, so I believe users are interested. So maybe I can give a couple of 2 minutes or something here, so that users can create this test their own test cases, so that they can continue with that, right? So I would request each user to click on their individual test case and just follow along what we do. Okay, and so Raj,
Ragesh,
yeah.
hold on 1 second. Does everybody know um, there are about 13 users? I'm assuming that we have about what, one, two, three, four, Have they all been able to log in?
Anne is not yet able to log in. I'm not sure
Okay,
whether yeah,
let me check and see. But anybody else having any issues?
seven. So there are seven users, Raj, who has been
Okay.
registered.
Okay. All right. Can the seven users who have registered, can they? Yeah. No, no problem. Anne is also logged in, by the way, now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So once you're logged in, are you able to go to this project that Ragesh is talking about? So the name of the project is Project Hands On. So let us make sure everybody is able to go to the Project Hands On, and there you can name it however you want. You can call it Joe Test, Dan and Test, or Test One, whatever you like it. Let us go ahead and create that. And so that's think of it as your template, right? Now you're going to go fill out our scenario we talked about, right? Where you're going to go through this particular application and do some interesting things with it. For example, create an entry in a table. That's what we're going to do now, right? And automate that process. So everybody log in and go to project hands-on and just start the first step of the project of the test case. So um, Ragesh, in case some people logged in late, can you just show them one more time how you did what you did?
Yeah, absolutely, Raj. So let me share again. Sorry for that. Yeah.
We
Okay.
can see your
So
screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So once we are in project hands-on, we click on add test case. So we have three options. Now we go with the notepad option. We click on this icon here. So already that first step is present here. So you can rename your test case to your liking. So let's see. I'll delete this as well. So I'm just giving one name. Update and just click on this generate button. So this model will appear. Just generate. So once you do that, we have the template ready and we can proceed further. So now I am deleting this one.
Yeah. Looks like a lot more folks have done
I,
it. Okay. Okay. And if there is anyone having any issues, please put it in the chat and we are here to help you. All right. Now, why don't we go through? Maybe you can walk us through the application and tell us what first manually tell us what you want us to do, what the scenario you want us to do, Ragesh. And then we can go in and start doing it.
yeah, sure. So once we are in this application, first step is we go to this application, and you have seen that how easy it is in Autonomic. We have already done that. So once we are in this application, we need to verify that elements label is there on the page. Okay, verify that this label is present. Then we click on elements. So once we navigate that, we click on web tables. Once we click on web tables, we can manually see that there are only three rows of data, right? One is Sierra, Alden, and Kira. Yeah. So we click on add button and we get this modal where we need to enter first name, we have to enter last name. So this last name we can make it a dynamic one. Yeah. So like we explained earlier, right? So always it should be unique. Email can be unique with okay, let's see this. Okay, email should have some random letters and some random numbers. Okay, just to understand how we do that in Outbound. Okay, so this is a random email that gets generated. Age can be hard coded, salary again can be hard coded, but which we will input to the tool, and we say QA as the department, and then we click on submit. So once we click on submit, we need to verify that whatever row we added, that particular row got added in the form. Okay, so you can see here this is the last name. So I'll take the last name for my reference. Once I click on submit, I should verify that this particular row got added. This particular last name is visible on the page. Yeah. I believe we have got a fair idea of what scenario we are trying to automate. If so, if users are good till this point, we could get going with the scenario.
So there is a question, Ragesh.
Hmm.
Where is the
Where's the
application?
applicable? Okay,
Yeah,
that's a good question.
yeah.
Yeah. So let me put that in the chat. Yeah. So users can go to this particular URL and see this. Yeah. So let me walk you through it once again. So once you land on this page, you would see this page. Yeah. So sorry, I can confirm. So sorry for skipping this point, but it is actually the when we created a project, that's the first URL we were intending to go. So once you are in this application, you can see this base page, and there we verify elements on the page. Click on elements, click on web tables, we click on add button, and enter these values. Once we click on submit, we verify that the row got added. Okay, so you can see
So
that this side. Sorry, Raj, please.
yeah, Ragesh. Oh, I think one thing, for Sarah's benefit, we should just show her the project where, Sarah, there is a project hands-on. If you go start your test case there, demoqa.com is already the application under test in that project. So you don't have to do anything extra. If you just go to project hands-on and create a new project, sorry, new test case in there, it should help you. So let us, Ragesh, show Sarah how you would do that. Go into the project and then start the test case.
Yeah. So Sarah says it's loading. Page is loading for her.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about demo QA or talking about the autonomic UI? Demo
DemoQA.
QA. Okay. Let me put the. I think it should not. Um, yeah, it's an open site. So yeah. Can it? Okay. The same link, right? Yeah. Not sure too. Other users you're able to access, right? Maybe can you try a different browser? Yeah. So Joe has added. Thank you, Joe. Can you try that, Sarah? Yeah. Maybe some browser restrictions. Could you change the browser and try one, Sarah? And Banu has asked a question: how are we landing on that page from record or from out tests? This page we are currently trying to check manually, Banu, so that we get an idea of the scenario, right? So you can see the links that users are sharing. Like Dan has shared this link. We just click on that link just to explore the scenario. Yeah? So the AUT which is under test. So once we get a feel of that, we will show it how we work in autonomy. Yeah. So autonomic source lab low code, also create an end-to-end test. Yeah. So Mustafa, you have to drop in email to let me bring that mail. How do I link my Chrome extension? Can I extension ID from Chrome? Where do I enter it? So Dan, like okay, let me show that. Uh,
We are doing that.
yeah.
Yeah. Mustafa sent us, I think, his email ID and first name, last name, email ID.
Okay.
So we
Let me
should
add.
go. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So everybody just wait for 1 second. We are adding Mustafa to, we are provisioning Mustafa's account, and we should be back after that. We will continue.
Yeah. So Mustafa, you might have received an email with the credentials. So yeah, just a quick summary. So what you need to do is that once you are able to log in, click on projects. You go to this project hands-on, and click on add test case. Click on this icon here, and just click on. You can rename this to your name um for your reference, and then click on generate button. This model would come. Click on generate, and please let us know in the chat so that we can get started. Yeah, Mustafa is able to log in. Yeah. So, Mustafa, are you able to do that so that shall we proceed or should we? Okay, yeah, sure.
So looks like more and more people are able to add uh, tests, which is fantastic. Uh, Looks like Kate may be having an issue because I see an error for Kate in the
Mm,
project. In the project, not here.
okay.
Assertion failure. So Kate has kind of skipped way past all,
Yeah,
all of
yeah, yeah,
this is good. This is actually fantastic to see.
yeah.
Assertion failure at step two. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ragesh, we can't see your screen anymore.
Okay, Raj. I just top share adding one user.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Just letting you know. That's all.
yeah, sure. Okay. So, team, shall we begin the session? Raj, shall we start? How
Yes.
long?
Let's continue. Let's continue.
The way yeah, okay, sure. So let me share my screen, team. Let me go here. So yeah, there's a question from Kate. Kate, we're getting the question. So let's proceed this way, and let's see how we add the steps, right? So each user can click on their test case, with the name, obviously. So once you click on that, we look at how we can add steps using the Notepad option. Yeah. So to add any step, we just click on this plus sign here. So there is a action module that pops up. So the step that we are trying to add. Okay, so once we are so team, just for the information, I have a limitation that I cannot switch between tabs because I'm sharing a particular tab. So users can go to demoqa.com in a different tab, okay, and visually see those elements when they're trying to interact. Okay, so I'm aware that you're only seeing my screen here. So you could just say verify, whatever we are trying to verify, and we can add that in a double quotes, okay, on the screen, or whatever we need to say. So for example, if I type verify itself, I'm getting these I'm getting these many suggestions, I would say. Yeah, and I believe Kate has used one of these suggestions, which is an excellent move, I would say here. But only thing is here is that she has not added this double quotes. So we could add this double quotes because we are saying that verify this particular thing on the screen. Okay, verify elements is on the page on the screen. Yeah, so you can notice that once I add this step, the editor becomes, it adds a new line for us, right? So we don't need to click the save button as of now. Just add the step, verify elements on the page. Once we verify that, we click on elements, and like I mentioned, right, users need not worry about whether it is capital letters or small letters, case sensitive. So we could just say click on elements. Once we verify elements, we click on elements. Once we click on elements, we click on web tables. So I say click on web tables. And once I click on web tables, I click on the add button. So whatever I am saying, right, so like how I would say to a user, like I click on add, I enter something. So similarly I'm saying, conveying to the tool. Okay, so once I click on add, I see a lot of enterable fields. So what's the first field I see? Enter first name. Yeah, so the same way I would say enter first name. Now here's the tricky part. So till now the data field was left blank, right, because there's no data for a verify statement, there's no data for a click statements. But when you have to enter something, the data comes into play. So here I would just enter random name here. Okay, I just hard code that name. Okay, just to showcase how we can pass data in the notepad version. Now when I say enter last name, I want to make it dynamic. And how do we make it dynamic? Is we use synthetic expression. So I can use this hashtag curly bracket, and we can give the syntax here. So once I add the syntax here, I'll put this in the chat also for the reference of users. So it's pretty straightforward. We just need to add this hash curly bracket so that the synthetic expression is set to the tool, and we can start giving the range that we want characters to be pulled from. Okay, so I'm saying that this should be capital letter from A to Z. This should be small letter from C to F, and how many letters I need, I could just pull it. Okay, so for example, I'm just creating something like this. To H. Okay, so I'm pulling one capital letter, small letter, small letter, small letter, a four-letter word, and I close this bracket. Okay, let me put this in the chat. Okay,
So
so this,
Ragesh,
yeah,
when you are at the right place to stop, I have a couple of questions from the chat that I would like to share.
okay. Raj, should I proceed a bit more, or should we answer them?
Well, let's pause here and answer the question.
Okay,
Um, yeah. So the question is, um, this. Kate wants to share. First, let's start with Kate. Why step two was failing? It will be interesting for everybody. Kate, please share. What why it is what you did that caused the failure. That way, everybody can benefit from it. And probably you will have to type it up and then in the chat, and I will read it. So that's the first thing. And then Dannon had a challenge. It looks like generation icon just spins, but then he said I was able to generate. Um, Dannon, just let us know if you have if you are having any other issues. And Joe White uh, said, "Is there a way to record additional steps to add to the end of an existing test case. Maybe we can show that. That's easy. Ragesh?
Yeah.
So let us show the easiest one of all is what Joe is asking. How do you add additional steps um,
Okay.
at the end of an existing test case?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that, Raj. So, so team, I'll just okay, maybe I'll just navigate here. Just stop my share for a moment and share my screen again with my Chrome tab. Oh, okay, it is still come here only. So let me put a tick sign. Save this for now. Okay. So okay. So let me take an example. So okay. So that question was from Kate, right? So for example, I have a test case. For example, this particular test case, right? And if I want to add any step, I directly click on this icon here, and I can start adding. So this is a way I can add steps to an existing test case. So if the question is more towards the recorder point, so what we could do is that, for example, I have recorded 1 to 10 steps and generated it once. Yeah, I have ended the recorder. Okay. Now I'll start the record again and record the steps. I can pause the record, right, and navigate till the seventh step. Continue to record from eighth step onwards, and that also would be a test case. So once those two test cases are there, I have different options to add them. Okay, I can say click on merge test case. I could merge these two test cases, right? So the first one, this would come in the first slot, and this would be in the second slot. I can obviously arrange it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to mix my test case with Banu's test case. But I'm saying that we could do this. So if you think this is the first test case, we could add that here. We could do this, and then it says enter test case name. So we have an option to merge, or we have an option to just copy some. Sorry, yeah, we have an option to copy some steps and append it. Okay, so let me show you that also. So we have an option that I can copy all these steps, and for example, I add a test case here, right? So I can just copy paste. You see, all the steps are here. So I believe was the question answered. You can put that in the chat if you got that answer. So we could move to the next one.
Yeah, Mustafa has a question to
Yeah,
Rakesh.
yeah.
Uh, what is this
Exactly.
action? Um, what is the action is checking? Verify element is on the page. So it is basically what it is doing, Mustafa, is it is making sure that that particular field you're looking for is on the page. I'll give you a simple example. There are a lot of times when pages are loaded very slowly, right? And you don't know how long to wait. Instead of waiting a, a certain number of seconds or minutes, you can wait on an event. Um, the event is something showing up on the page, right? So if you that is one reason why we have verify ABCs on the page. So that way, when ABC shows up, everything is good, right? That's one way to do it. The second way is, what if you accidentally entered the wrong page? How do you make sure logically you're in the right place? Is to make sure that you're looking for a certain um, field, and that field or a label or a title of the page, whatever that is, right? When you look for that, you are in the right page, and if you see it, you're in the right page. And those are the reasons why we do that. I hope that answered your question, Mustafa. Okay, Ragesh, you can please continue.
Yeah. Sure, Raj. So, team, I have, since Raj was discussing about dynamic weight, I've added this particular step here. So, what I've done here is you all have that verify step. So you could just put a space and just add a timeout. So what timeout does is we could add a dynamic wait. So what it's going to do is that it would wait maximum of 60 seconds. So let's say that this elements appear within 10 seconds. Yeah. So this step is going to pass and move to the next step. But if it crosses 60 seconds, this step would fail. Yeah. So we could set that maximum time you should wait for this event to load is this particular seconds. Otherwise, fail the test case. So that's how it works. Also, verify is a soft assertion. So that means even if this step fails, the tool is going to execute the next steps. But if we use the term assert, it is going to fail at this particular point itself. Yeah, just for the reference. So I believe we were at this step where we were entering the first name with some synthetic data. So once we have done that, we enter email. So users who are following me can follow this step, enter email. So we discuss about an email which has the term like this. For example, my first name would be here. I would pick some letters and number combination. Okay? So here I would say, give me some letters. Let's say I need two letters, and I need some numbers. So I'll use a /d/d. Okay, and gmail.com. So I'll put this also in the chat. You could modify this to your liking. Email, yeah, so that we get a dynamic email each and every time. So once that step is done, enter email is done. I believe it's age, salary, and yeah. So I just say enter age, enter salary. You can see that as soon as you type something, right, there's always this prompt that appears. So we could just select that and just modify this step. Enter salary, enter age, salary, department, and click on save. So once I've done written these steps, right? So click on save. Yeah. And this double quotes is very critical for verify statement. Even if you don't add double quotes for these steps, this is going to work perfectly fine. So I just add this data. Wherever I say enter, I obviously have to give data. Enter department, I give as QA and click on save. And you can see here the step editor is actually now live. That's why you see this modal. As soon as you click this tick sign, it goes away, and you can. So that is like I communicate to the tool that the modal is fine, can go away now, and click this tick mark so that it saves the test case. Yeah? It says updated test steps successfully. Now we are away from one step, which is we are not sure what is the last name that is entered by the tool. Yeah. So here is a very tricky part, since there are a lot of users using this currently, right? So if I, let's say I'm giving this as enter last name and save it as L name. Okay, or let me save this way. Okay, I give a random variable name. Okay, I'm saying that save this as this particular name, and I'm going to say here verify. How do I call a variable? You see the syntax, right? Verify this is on the page or on the screen. So now I can see this particular syntax. I enter this. Verify dollar curly bracket variable name is on the screen. Okay. Now what is going to happen is that me as a user, I have given this variable name. Maybe Kate will give, maybe Anne will give. So this is going to have a conflict in the variable tab. Okay. So if you go to the variable tab, okay, I think this is saved. Let me go to the variable tab. If I go to variable tab, there are no variables as of now. Okay. So if I add a test case, let me say dummy so that there's no confusion with any user. So let me give a step like save it as, okay, some random text. Okay. Let me generate this. So I'm saying save it as some variable name and some value. It may not be dynamic all the time. I'm just saying that save this value to this particular variable. Okay. Now if I go to the variable tab, I'm going to see this variable. Okay. So if different users are going to use the same variable, it's going to get overridden and our test case would fail. So what we can do to avoid that is we have different options. Either we could use different variables, or we could just add a local variable. So how do we add a local variable? I can say enter last name and save it as, okay. I can add an underscore and give a variable name of my choice. So enter first name and the last name, save it as, okay. So this is saved it as L name, and I can say verify L name on the screen. Okay, I believe my steps are done. Let me add that steps. The age, something with the save. Enter salary. Enter department. Department. Click on submit. Okay. Like I mentioned, not necessary, not compulsory, I would say. So here I'll just copy that what I have pasted in the chat. You should probably not use example.com and I'm available on Gmail. Okay. Okay, we could do that. I'm not sending any emails though, but yeah, point noted. Okay. This is just in demo QA we enter and yeah, it should not trigger any means. So enter age. Okay, not a big age though, like enter salary, should be numbers, enter department and click on submit. Yeah. So now the last step is I need to verify this label on the screen. So I say verify dollar curly bracket this on the screen. Okay. So now what is going to happen is that the variable that I'm going to save is a local variable. Okay. And that won't show up in the variable tab. Okay. Since multiple users are using, there's not going to be any conflict. Okay. So I put tick sign here. I save the test case. So now you can see that all the 13 steps are saved. Once I do this, I can go ahead and generate. So like I mentioned, for verify statements, you can add double quotes, and other places it's not very mandatory. You could ignore double quotes also; it should work fine. And yeah, so let me add this dynamic timeout also to give you a what this is. Timeout. I just put after verify statement, with verify statement we can add timeout. So timeout, let's say 30 seconds. Okay. So let's say I want to add a comment. Okay. I can add a comment by adding two hashtags and pass on any comment I want, right? So dynamic wait in third step. So I can also give a hard wait, like wait for 30 seconds, but we believe that dynamic timeouts would save us a lot of time, efforts. That's a much better practice to follow because anyway, this is going to wait for this many 30 seconds. But at times we do need hard waits. That's why we have that step as well. So I just save this. So once I save, it shows updated test step successfully. Now I can click on this generate button and click on this button here. Okay. So I'm going to click generate. So once I generate, you can see step-by-step processing of the test case. We can see that it's automatically auto scrolling to those steps. We can always click on this more options and auto scroll off if in case we need to see the step-by-step action, and we can take control. You can see here, right? I could click on this button here. There's a like a slideshow option. We could turn that on so you could see the continuous steps in action. Click on add, click on enter first name. So last name is this. You can see FDCG, and it gets saved under L name, local variable. Enter this. So this has both numbers and letters, age, salary, department, and click on submit. Once we submit, we verify this local variable is there on the screen. So team, while we are building this, just for the reference of users, we also have a concept called a debug point. Yeah. So for example, I have, so I have, let's say that I have a big test case. Okay. Now it's like 14 steps. Let me say I have like a test case with 40 to 50 steps. I need to debug it. So I need to generate step by step and make sure that things are perfectly fine the way I want. Okay. So I'll use a debug point. Let me show how it works. Okay. So now I have added a debug point in. Okay, let me show you a debug point here. Okay, I added a debug point here and I click generate. So let's see what the debug point does. So how I add a debug point is I hover on this step and there is a small circle you would see. You can turn that on, so it would act as a debug point, and we can see how it works. Yeah. So what happens here is this particular step is not yet performed. Okay. It is just saying that hey, I'm going to perform this step, and it has moved this generate button over here. Okay. Let's say I want to make a modification instead of first name Rob. I want it to be Robert. Okay. I save this here. So this is the seventh step, and I'm currently at the 10th step. Okay. Now I add a debug point here just for my reference, right? And now I click this button. So what will happen now is that it won't start from the first step. It would start from the seventh step where I made a change. Correct. So it would make that change and proceed generating the test case. So that's how I can easily debug this and proceed. Right.
Hey,
So one,
Rakesh,
yeah. Sorry.
let us pause here for a second. Couple
Yeah.
of things we need to ask.
Hmm.
Is everybody able to? Let's go see what people have done
Yeah.
and where they're stuck at, so we can
Yeah.
help them uh, do the get the thing. So let us watch. Yeah, I see several red spots. So let's start from the top, and let's go one by one and help them. Yeah. So while Ragesh is doing that, a quick question to everybody: uh, any are you stuck at a place where you would like any help? If you are, just put it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to solve every single one of the issues people have encountered, so we can move this forward. So where are we at on this particular test case, Ragesh?
Yeah. Sorry, Raj. We
Why did it fail on save? Click on save.
Yeah. So if you notice here, I've added the comment like error step is click on save. So it's trying to say the save, but there's no save button. And there is an alert as well. It's saying that element is not found.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've added this as the error step and I've
Okay.
provided the correct step. So
Okay.
I could delete this and generate this again. It would work.
Okay.
And also, I don't think Michelle has added this step. So Michelle, you have done till the save. So how do you validate now, right? So we have to add one step here, enter last
No,
name
wait,
and
before you go there, Ragesh, one thing. So I hope everybody followed. What Ragesh pointed out was there was no button like save, but
yeah.
instead this button was submit. So what
Hmm.
he did was he just deleted that and added submit, and now the test should pass. That there should be no failure, right? It's in the last step. Now it's looking for submit, and it should find it, and then it should pass.
Yeah. Shall I generate this, Michelle?
Yeah, let's go ahead and yes, please. So let's go to the okay, let's go to the Kate's yes.
Oh, okay. So here I believe you have added verify variable. We don't have to add variable here. So only time we add a variable term here is when we do a variable to variable comparison. Yeah. So you can see the let us say its variable name is not found. Okay. Let me see here. Oh, so and fill in last name. You have given a compound step here. Save as L name. Okay, let's see what we have done here. Okay, so Kate has gone a long way. She's used a different name, fill in first name. Okay, so that shows. Okay, let's look at this step. Click on elements, web tables, click on add. Perfect. Add button. Okay, fill in first name, work fine. So may I know what you've tried for a compound step? Yeah. So it says fill in first name and save as L name. So fill in first name and save as L name. So why were this given as a compound step? So this is more like an you can add an and here and save it as L name. So if you see the step, it says save it as L name. Yeah. Was this intentionally added a slash or Kate, could you help us here? Or maybe we could clone Kate's test case. Okay.
Oh, Kate is saying that I think she just typed in and.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just typed in and. Okay. Let's see. So okay, I'm in this project. Um, it should not be the case. Okay, let's try this. Fill in. I can use the same term fill in first name and save it as L name. Okay, we will delete this step if that's fine by you. Okay, I need to provide this as well here. I'm saying fill in last name and save it as variable name. uh, it's a local variable underscore without any space. Okay, I mean with space means we have to add the space as well. So this is the variable we are trying to validate. Like tick sign and it is in this step. Okay, and we don't need to say verify variable. Perfect, you already changed this. Now I put tick sign and generate this. So we don't prefer compound step at this stage, so you could just say the fill name and use the term and somehow it got saved with a forward slash. So yeah, but you can see here, right? We have not used any double quotes, and it works perfectly fine. But for the verification, you have used it perfect. Yeah. So you can see here, right? Kate has used instead of enter, she has used fill in, and it works perfectly fine.
So another question is how can we change the order of steps within a test case?
Yeah. So how do we change the order of steps? So we have within a test case. So you mean some few test case I arrange. I mean some test case I just keep changing, right, sir? I'm some test steps in a particular test case. We are not talking about different test cases which we are merging, right? So
Yeah,
usually there is
within a test
yeah.
case, let's say if you want to switch two to one, one to two, how would we do this?
Yeah, so Raj, currently the user has to copy and paste it because the drag function we have removed right previously.
Okay.
So we the user will have to copy the step and paste it at the desired location.
Can you show us
So
how we would do that?
yeah, sure. It's a basic copy. So if I need to move this to the step, I just copy that, add that, and paste it, and put the text in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have to copy this and move it to any particular location of my choice. So just make sure that whatever modifications we make sure that, for example, I add like wait 2 seconds. Wait 2 seconds. I put this sign and make sure that we put the stick sign. Okay. I think
Can we
Banu
go to
test.
Banu's test case and
Yeah.
see why Banu is failing?
Oh, okay. So it looks like she's using this hashtag curly bracket. It's not necessary here. Uh, okay. It looks like she's still modifying. So Manu here, right? Verify variable is not required. You could remove this. And when you call a variable, right? We say dollar curly bracket, and the same thing. We don't need to add this here. Let me show. Okay, dollar. It's not round brackets. It's not parenthesis, a curly bracket. Verify this on the page, and only one change here is this one. So when you say in the first name and save it as, you need not give any syntax here. Yeah. So in the last name and save it as, we could use no, save it as, and this particular thing, and verify this on the page. Now this should work fine. Oh,
So
okay. This step, yeah, this step, right?
can you
Yeah,
generate the script? Let us see
yeah,
if it
sure.
works.
Yeah, sure, Raj. One step, Raj, here, right? One is going to verify this is on timeout. No. So this step is verify this. The timeout has to be specified timeout. Yeah, you have to put two hyphen and say hyphen timeout. That's how timeout will work. Yeah. Sorry, I can do control Z. Verify elements. I could say verify elements on the page or verify elements. It should work. Timeout. Or timeout 10. It's not necessary step also. Now I can generate this. Oh, one has gone ahead and verified web tables as well. Perfect.
Anyone else having any issues or any questions? Looks like everybody got it to work.
Yeah. So looks like few of the users have not generated. Do you need any assistance, or are we? Yeah. Just a quick check because I saw a few not generated.
Banu has a question
Mm-hmm.
where we are erroring dynamic last name in the script while generating.
Oh, okay. So that's at this particular step. Okay. Again, it's failing at step 15. Let's see what happened. Assertion failed. Okay, maybe this particular thing we are using is a bit different. Let me see. Okay, let me start with your question. When you say enter last name and save it as, right, this is where it is saving. Yeah. So enter last name and save it as. So here you see this is the dynamic value we are entering. Yeah. So this is a synthetic expression which contains one capital letter followed by small letters. Okay. And I'll copy this exact name because that we are doing a exact match. Verify variable. You can see here, right? There's a slight change. Now it should work fine. Is your question answered? One?
Banu, let us know if we answered your question. Well, looks like you guys have done. Everybody who has done extremely well. Created your scenarios, and many of you have already generated the scripts, executed it. Um, it would be nice for us to see if the rest of them can also generate and execute. But in the meantime, um, we can. I've put a poll, a two-question poll in the polls section. If you can take a minute, just two questions. If you can take a minute and answer those two questions and send your responses back, that'll be very helpful for us to understand your situation a little bit better. So, anyway, in the meantime, we will continue working with you uh, and answering your questions.
Yeah. So Raj, if I may, there was a question from a user who had
Yeah,
asked, how do we see the executions? Yeah.
yeah,
So currently we have generated team. So once we click on this button here, which says execute. Okay, I'm inside this test case. I can always do it from the outside UI as well. But I'm already inside. I can click on this execute button here. Again the modal would show up and just click execute. Okay, once I click execute, I have this hamburger icon here. Click on that, you should be able to see that execution in progress. Yeah, so if I click on this, I'll be able to see the execution live. If I click on this, you can navigate back to the step editor. And once this is done, you could just click on this refresh to refresh it. You can see that once it's done, we would get a report. Okay, so just click on the download report, and you should be able to see that report. Yeah. So this was a question from. Okay, there's a question. What's the difference between generate and execute? So Raj, you want to take that up, or shall I explain?
sorry, what was the question?
The difference between generation and execution, asked by Joe.
Yes, generation is, think of it as a first time execution, because what it is doing is it is going through and understanding um, what is the, it is processing the NLP, it is processing the navigating the application, it is identifying elements, it is generating the script. All that is happening in the generation phase. Without the generation phase has to be there before the execution can happen, right? So the first step is generation, and the second step is execution. Once it's generated, generation may take a little bit longer than execution, and once it's generated, execution is very simple, right? Execution is just repeated execution of the scripts that already been generated. So that's the way to look at it. So generation is the first step, always navigating, understanding NLP, doing all those kinds of things, and then the execution is pretty straightforward. By the way, I hope that answered the question. By the way, there is a failure on the very first test case, Ragesh. I can see. Yeah, what is that step four failure? Somebody is stuck there.
Yeah, I believe this. Click on text box. So somebody's used a recorder, but they have clicked randomly, Raj, I believe. So it says click on text box. So let me go to the UI. Okay, I get it. So what has happened is Raj, somebody's tried to record, but they clicked on some path somewhere on the page, and they're not actually landed on this text box. Yeah, but they have continued to enter. So the user was tried this. Can you try clicking on the labels on the page and try once? I think it is Mustafa was tried maybe, but you have clicked on some other tabs. Can you try that again, Mustafa, and confirm? Yeah, so Joe is saying that generate is like a build and run, execute is just is a way to export scripts and then run. Yeah. So
Let me.
there
I'm
are few.
answering that.
Yeah.
So there is a way to export scripts and then import them into something like a Visual Studio, but we don't recommend we do that. We actually say it's not a good idea to do that, simply because all the auto healing is lost. All the auto healing capabilities are lost. So we think that it is not a good idea to export it. You can export it, of course. You can export it, because we are very different from other tools that lock you in. lock you in means they won't give you Java Selenium or anything like that. They lock you in. Um, but we will give you Java Selenium. You can export it. But what we recommend is please don't use it to run and in your own environment, because we are doing auto healing. We are maintaining the scripts and all that stuff. So you will lose all that, and that would get you into more trouble. So that's the reason why we feel that way. I hope that answered the question. If you have not taken a moment to answer the poll questions, please go ahead and do it. I see a few people who have already done it, but it would be great if the rest of you can also go ahead and do the poll. That would help us a lot. And Ragesh, while they're doing, can we make sure the step 4 problem is fixed here so that we don't have the red or blockage there? So um, Kate has there are several questions here. Um, One is, for everybody's benefit, we can share the list of commands a person can look at. So maybe Ragesh, you can give us a reference where that list of commands is. Um, that's one, and the second one is, how would I test for an expected error? Like if I put a letter in the salary field. My test is set up to do this, and I made an attempt in step 15. So, Ragesh, what do you think?
Yeah, Raj. So I'm trying to understand the question. How would I test for an expert error? Like if I put a letter in the salary field, my test attempt should have and my data. Oh, okay. So you mean to say that the salary you put letter? Yeah. So it depends on the behavior of the tool. Okay. So let me stop this and let me go to the tools QA and show the behavior. So if you go here, yeah. So let me go to that field and yeah. So I give the first name, I give the last name, I give an email, okay. I give an age, and now instead of salary, I will give some letters. Okay. So I say here QA and then click submit. So, this is the validation that I get on the screen. So there are multiple ways to check this. So, so if you look at autonomic, we have a hierarchy. So now we have just using labels, right? So we just used plain labels to understand this. I mean, to convey to the tool. But if you see here, there is no label we can talk about. Okay. So what we can check here is we can look for this particular thing that appears on the screen. So this could be in different ways that could appear. So here in this page, I would say this would go to, yeah. So you can see that it's there's a special that it appears. So there's a class that appears. Then we could verify that this class appears. Yeah. So that is one way. So it depends on the UI. So for example, some UIs will showcase, right. We do not please enter numbers only. So we could verify that text. Yeah. So it depends from scenario to scenario. Here, if you have a wrong entry, maybe once we click on submit, we can verify that this alert has popped up. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. So yeah,
So
I think actually
we
we
have
can.
20 minutes, roughly 20 minutes to go. Um, Looks like let's go back to the project details page, Ragesh,
Yeah,
and let
sure,
us
Raj.
see. Yeah, let us see if looks like everybody has was able to complete um, pretty much, except there is I see a red one. Um, Other
Oh,
than that,
he's trying. Okay, he's trying to verify that this is right. So
okay.
yeah, let me help Kilan just please.
Okay. So, everyone on this call, you got to be really proud of yourselves because we just started it a couple of hours ago describing what low code solution is. And from there, we gave you a very brief introduction to the product. And now you're able to, almost all of you are able to automate a scenario. And that's pretty darn amazing. Going from zero to a completion of automation of a scenario within such a short time is pretty darn amazing. So that's good. Kudos to you for able to absorb what we are talking about and be able to replicate that, and that's pretty damn good. And in the meantime, if there is any questions, very happy to um, hear any last minute questions, and thanks for participating in the polls, and just let us know what your thoughts are on not only creating the test case and automation, but also generally any feedback on the tool. What you saw today would be very helpful because we can take that as um, input to our product requirements and so on. So Joe has a question. Ragesh is saying, how could I tell it to click the edit icon in the row with last name Smith?
Yeah, let me answer that. So we have something like contextual statements. So let me share my screen. Autonomic. Yeah. So we could say something like click on something next to something, something click on something after something before something. The same concept can be applied for click on that pencil icon for name next to something, right? For example, if I can say, let me show a small example. Okay, let me add a test case, and I can say here contextual. Okay, great. And I would directly navigate to this particular page so that we don't have to go to multiple steps here. Let me say here, go to this page. Instead of this, I can directly give this URL. Okay, then click on. Okay, I need to click on the edit button next to Kira. Okay, so and how do I validate that? So let me see that. I can say click on edit. Okay. Mm, okay, 1 minute. Let me see. Click on edit for Kira. Okay, let me try this. For Kira, verify submit on the screen. Okay, let me try this one. So you can notice this, right? What has happened? So I said click on edit. So even though this pencil icon doesn't have a label, it has an attribute called edit. Yeah. So we could just say click on edit, or even if it's a tooltip, right? So let me see what it is. It's an attribute. There's no tooltip. So label, tooltip, attributes, and paths. Yeah. So we go for the attribute. We say click on edit for Kira. Okay, if we say click on edit for Alden, it's going to click on that. Let me show you that. Okay, let me start from top. Okay, let me. Sorry about that. I was actually a different space. Okay, so before that we clicked on edit for Kira. Let's click on edit for Alden. Yeah. So is that query resolved? So we could use statements like click on something for something, click on something next to something, before, after. So all that we can incorporate, and those are called as contextual statements.
Ragesh,
Yeah.
when you're done with this, Anne has a little bit of a situation. Um,
Oh,
so, yeah, well, when you're done with this,
yeah, it's done. I believe the user had got this context right. So what we are talking about. Yeah. So let's come back to Anne's test case. Um. Okay. So Anne, are you trying to generate, or it looks like she has not added the steps? What's the issue you're facing, Anne, while trying to generate?
seem to be stuck on generating for the first step.
Hmm.
Can
And
you
are
can you
you?
generate
Yeah.
right now? Can you generate?
Yeah. So yeah, and I believe you are going with the source executions. Maybe can you make sure that you see the screen this way, like local, this option you see. For example, I just click on this local. For example, if you're somewhere else, click on this new configuration local. Make sure that you have this option and generate should work for you.
Anne is asking, how did you get that screen?
Oh, okay. Okay, so let me show that. See, I believe you are able to reach this page. You click on this generate icon here, which is this play symbol, right? Click on this, and the model appears. So once this model appears, make sure that we have this selection. If we don't have this, click on new configuration, click on local. You're going to see this. Yeah, now man is able to generate. Perfect. Yeah.
Joe has a he is testing out the fuzzy logic capability. Read as Joe's comment.
Yeah. Joe, is this, have you tried it in this particular test case? No, I suppose. Verify this. Okay. Yeah. Click on edit. It worked fine. Okay. Enter first name. You're talking about this. Okay. Yeah. So it worked fine, right? Are you talking about? Okay. I'm trying the fuzzy logic. I was trying to do the same thing. It's a demo it, but the syntax really confused it. Okay, field edit. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let me explain. So that is not, so that is just telling you, right? It's not kind of an error here. So that's what we should understand. For example, right, you see here there are like these many elements, and when you try to enter first name, it is saying that the fuzzy. See, actually, what is in the UI? First name, okay, with a capital F and a capital N. Okay. Now you can look at the error. It says that fuzzy label found as first name. Please check this step if you think there's any discrepancy. Yeah, but it's not discrepancy, right? We know that this step is fine. So when we create, we pass this step. We kind of, because this is, even though this is giving you an information, you see the status success. Only this success is, it's not success if it's failure. We have to mandatorily change this. This is more like an information to the user, right? Did it help, Joe? So next two doesn't do what I wanted for thinking the more does work. Yeah. So next two for all has those contextual relationship with those instances. So we have to use that combination to test this application.
So we have about 10 minutes left. Any other questions, comments, thoughts about Autonomic as a product? Please share. Ragesh just posted the commands that you would most often use in the link there. You can please click on it and you get all the details. Mark, yes, you can actually get your hands on this product after this after today's session. You have to send in a request, and then you can get an extended. Um, you send in a request through. There is a sauce request you can send in, and then through that we will process and be able to give you the access. I think you should send in the request. Susie, help me. If is it info at Sauce Labs or sales at Sauce? One of those, um, you know, things, and then you should be able to get it. Yes, right there. You can see that. Mustafa, yes, you can do that. You see right there, you can get autonomic.io/tryautonomic.html. That link, if you click on that, submit request, we will give you access to it, access to the product, and you can try more advanced features. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Mustafa, for your participation and everybody else. So, any other last minute questions? Let us know. You're welcome, Banu. Um, so the main thing to remember is you will all get a video recording of this. Plus, if you want to get a extended access, please reach out to us at autonomic.io try slash try autonomic.html, right? That if you hit that form, you will get extended access to autonomic.
Raj, I believe there are a few questions from Joe in the chat.
Sure.
Can this do like read a
Oh
file
yeah.
of a make it big?
Yeah, let me read. Okay, thank you for pointing it out. Joe asked, can these do things like read a file off a network share? Yes, we can do this. We have um, a capability. We have UDF, user defined functions, that can go do whatever you need to do, and then come back and continue the test. So using UDFs, you can do this. And there is also other methods. We can certainly get into that. Joe also asked, can it make API calls? Yes, we can. In fact, if you have a example you can pull out. I know it's kind of getting very close to the end. Ragesh, if you can pull out an example, that'll be good. We can show them. So, Joe, to answer your question, um, we use a very simple technique. We use bash curl syntax to make API calls. From within the test case, you can do that and get access to whatever API you have. Not a problem. In fact, a lot of our customers are using it today, um, and we do this. That's how it works. We can also wrap that in we call a function called flow. It's the name of the function is called flow. And using a flow, you can wrap the API calls so that even a simple user um, can use it, right? We're going to show. So Mustafa wants to see how the UDF works. We can show you that in a second, but let's first show the API call so that we can answer Joe's question. Uh, can we do validation like Tool? Yes, absolutely. We have something called visual testing, a visual tester that's integrated into Autonomic. That feature is coming up shortly, and once that feature is available, it can do better than Tool because Tool only does visual validation. We do both functional and visual validation, all built into one product. So that's upcoming very shortly because Visual Tester is owned by Sauce Labs. We're just integrating our own products. It's very easy to get that done and demonstrate that. So that's the answer to Mustafa's question. So go ahead. We only have 5 minutes left. So please show quickly how the APIs work. I think, Joe, you can see it on the screen. Ragesh, you want to walk through this?
Yeah, sure. So Joe, like Raj explained, right? So we use the bash call syntax. So this is the URL we're doing a get request. So we just save, this. We just pass this step to Autonomic, and API call get from this URL. Yeah. So it saves the response to the variable tab. Okay. Since I'm not having the option to share different tabs, I can show that once we discuss this. I can show that in the other tab. And then what we can do is once that response is saved, we could parse it in any format, right? So we could just use the normal syntax like dot index and value we need to fetch, and we can use that thing in the test cases going forward. Yeah. So now if you're doing a post request, we need a body and a header, and again a URL. So URL body header is saved in these steps, and we are passing this step. Save API curl post all these inputs as post response, and again this post response is saved in the variable tab, and we can fetch from the post response. So if you see here, this is the output of the post response. So you can this step we say save this step to post response, and here we are entering the entire output. So it looks something like this. This is the output. From this output, we are able to fetch the ID. Let's say. So from here we need to fetch the ID. So we say post response dot ID, and this gives us the ID. So that's how the curl syntax for get and post works in Autonomous. And like Raj mentioned, users could make this a flow. For example, if they need to make this like a flow, they just select these steps, click on the flow, and give it a name like get API. Okay, and just save it. And let's say a new user, right? They just and they don't have any knowledge about APIs, but they just use this, and they automatically get the previously saved function, reusable component, and they just go ahead and generate. So it automatically pulls all those steps, and it does the job.
Um,
Yeah.
Ragesh, sorry, I missed it. Can you show an example of a UDF?
UDF, yeah. So yeah, okay, sure. Let me check
We
that.
only have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I need to check this. LMS, mm, so yeah, UDF would look something like this. Users can see my screen, right? So
Yeah.
so any UDF that we want, we could just call this function use custom code from, and use that code, right? So it could vary from different key clicks, like we need to press for example, there's a particular format we need to do, like two times you need to press the up arrow key, two times the down arrow key, something like that. So we could use that as a custom function and save it in a repository, right? And the best part is the user, the who is going to run this, doesn't need to know how this code works. So we just reference it to this particular code, and it would pull from that and use it. So this could be used in any test case in the entire project. So this entire instance users can use this, and only one user would be creating this, and that too with the help of AQT. Right, Raj? And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so Danan has asked, is there a way to set permission because he's able to see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so we
Darren,
could,
today, just for this purpose,
yeah,
we wanted to everybody to see each other's, but
yeah.
we have the ability to block off uh, users and accounts and customers, so none of them can see anybody's work. So that is a very strict. In fact, we usually have each user on their own instance, and no instances are shared. So yes, we do build it in such a way that for um, production use, we can actually completely make it isolated so nobody else can see it. All right, we are 1 minute past a 3 hour long session, and still people asking questions. This is fantastic. Um, is there a way to require code reviews? We don't enforce. I mean, I'm not following the question, Joe, but we don't enforce code reviews. But code reviews are a good practice. If you have code reviews prior to what you do your test, that's even better. But I'm not sure if I follow your question completely. Oh, got it. Okay. Um, we don't necessarily have that step where, if you are doing a merge, we don't have that capability right now built in, but that's something we can certainly take it as a interest and into the product roadmap. Any other questions? All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for patiently staying with us and doing the test case. And automating a test scenario. We're very proud of what you have done. Thank you, and really appreciate all your participation and interest. Please reach out to me at raj.rao for any pricing information, or product information, or anything else. And look forward to connecting and working with each of you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.